To my mind, um, kasi si Sara, yung economic policies ni Presidente, or I mean, if you sum it up, kasi nasa gitna ako ng halos lahat ng mga patakaran pagdating sa ekonomiya. Actually, they are very, they're not only valid, they're actually good economic policies. Create everything, so on and so forth. I can enumerate all of them, but for a change, for a course correction, I think you need Sara as president, and I think kasi alam mo, nung una itong nilabas na I am for Sara, the stock market finally jumped from 6.2 to 6.7 today. So that means that the people are responding quite positively, especially the investment market. Na they want to something. They now have something to look forward to, which is the 2022 elections. And I would say that's also a judgment on the fact that Sara will run for president.
You mentioned
But
two
you're
things.
also
You mentioned
saying
the
yes, but
market.
you know-
You mentioned two things. You mentioned the market and you mentioned the people. Are you saying they're thinking the same way?
No, I'm sorry. Yung people, di puro Pulse Asia and SWS yun. That she hasn't fallen below being the front runner.
Okay.
I haven't seen a single survey by these two top pollsters where Sara is below 20, 26.
Let me ask you, in broad strokes lang, what are the issues? What issues do you think will define the coming elections?
Number one, because if you have a chart of how many jobs per day needed to achieve herd immunity, we're already above it. And actually, not many people know that the single largest Pfizer contract outside the US was actually contracted by the Philippines.
No.
So you would expect that by August, there would be an entirely different worldview with respect to the current pretty justified pessimism about the handling of the pandemic.
Yeah,
So,
but conversely, if things don't come to
Number
pass
two.
if things don't come to pass in August or by the last quarter, as you're saying, it's going to be dire straits. That's going to be a very real issue sticking on the administration.
I already took that into consideration, and with respect now I think people will look more for how would you call that, a strong personality. And if you look at all the list, that all the 9 names you've been floating around, the strongest personality there would be Sara, and it's well known. It's pretty well known. Not just boxing up the sheriff. It's the way she rejected NTF LCOC, saying that anybody who wants this allocation for Davao City can have it. Going against the policies of his own, of the cabinet of his own father. You have also, when I dealt with her, we had friendly debates on RDC chairs. He was the overall RDC chair of Mindanao, me for Luzon. And I would also see that before she speaks, there will be a staff. So that tells me a complete staff work beneath her. So I would say she would be like have more expansive access to corporate talent. That is the difference that I look at, na nakikita ko. So she can easily motivate people to join government. And she will not be insecure about having brilliant people around her. That will lead to, a more enlightened, policies. So, saka actually, pag nung nag-uusap kami sa taas ng RDC, because this is the RD ko, NEDA, the Regional Development Committee of NEDA. So, actually, she has a very sophisticated economic thinking. Dati 3.7% GDP lang ang Davao region. Under her, and this is during Pinoy, it went up to 7.4%. So that to me, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So this is a leader who knows her stuff. And yung sa LCAC, that tells me she knows judicious use of scarce national resources. Sige sa inyo na yan, hindi naman kailangan ng Davao yan. Tapos yung kanyang behavior with respect to the sheriff, that shows me a very Kantian or an Immanuel Kant, categorical imperative, an instinct for the poor. So, kumbaga kitang-kita mo talaga because it's so you would have an enlightened and well-advised policies.
But I do want to squeeze this in, and siguro by way of prefacing your next guesting here, kasi mahaba pa yung usapan natin. But you're basically framing Sara Duterte, as you said, capable, strong, and her own person. When it comes to human rights and all the issues na binabato kay President Duterte, where does she diverge from her father, and how will she handle those questions, not only about human rights, where she stands, but also where she stands with regards to many people wanting to hold her father and her allies accountable in the next administration?
Tingnan mo na lang yung human rights situation in Davao under her. I think it is more like Hobbes or like the war against all. Which philosopher is that? I think it must be a French philosopher who said that she's basically that well, you can have both Locke, Hobbes, and Rousseau, and basically they made that social compact there, making the city. So it's more Hobbesian in character. No, I look at presidents from GMA, everybody else, and I want to define them based on philosophy, on their worldview or their belt and shown, essentially. So among all these offered names that you mentioned, I think she has the appropriate worldview not only for a course correction in some of what you call kanina, maybe not flaw, baka kasi misspoke ulit ako eh. So I think she would be tough, right, and she's tough, she's right, and she's right, and I think she has that instinct for the poor. So
Okay.
that, from a point of view, I think she's for me what every Jesuit would want to be president.